Have you ever tried to reinvent your life through all those success secrets tips, only to end up right back where you started, feeling disappointed, giving up, and wondering if anything ever really works? I was like that once, but in just 1 week, by applying 7 simple habits grounded in Stoic philosophy, I experienced a profound transformation that I never believed was possible before. This is not a boring list of self-help tips. I'll share with you real experiences, failures, and true successes, along with detailed guidance so you can start making changes the moment you switch off this screen. Welcome to 7 Habits That Changed My Life in 1 week. These lessons will change your life. Stoic philosophy. Stay until the very end, and you'll discover why in just 1 week, with only 7 small changes, you have the power to rewrite the very course of your life. If you've ever felt frustrated, wanted to give up, or simply yearned to become a better version of yourself, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and join me on this journey. Are you ready to begin? Let's explore the 7 habits that can truly change your life right now. Habit 1. Silent meditation. Like so many others, I used to think meditation was only for people with too much free time, or for those who had reached some higher state I could never attain. My mind was always tangled thoughts overlapping, unfinished work nagging, worries rising and fading, only to surge up again. I would tell myself, sit still. If I try sitting still, I'll go crazy long before I ever feel any peace. But then I asked myself, how long has it been since you truly gave time to yourself? No phone, no work, nothing that needs solving, just you and the rhythm of your breath. The first day I tried meditating, I set a timer for 7 minutes, but not even 2 minutes in, my mind was burning with restless thoughts. Every minute felt like torture, me legs numb, my hands itching to reach for my phone. A wave of helplessness came over me. I don't belong to this kind of stillness. But instead of quitting, I decided to try again. The second day wasn't much better, but I started to notice no one was forcing me to meditate. All I needed to do was stay with my real feelings. By the third day, something strange happened. After fighting the urge to do something, anything, I finally felt my own breath. And in that moment, I began to notice all the things I'd been trying to ignore: a gentle sadness, the fear of failure, and small dreams I'd dismissed as unimportant. The strangest part was, the less I tried to chase those thoughts away, the more they softened, faded, and left behind a quiet stillness I rarely feel in daily life. That was when I remembered Marcusaurelius's words. Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up, if thou wilt ever dig. The inner life is an inexhaustible resource, and meditation is simply a way to return to yourself, just sitting still and observing. It's fascinating to realize how many successful people, writers, entrepreneurs, professors, athletes openly practice meditation as an essential habit. Timferriss, a well-known author, once shared, "Of all the people I've interviewed who are world-class performers, more than 80% have some form of daily meditation practice." If you've never tried meditating, start like Tim Ferriss. Each morning, find a quiet space, leave your phone in another room, sit comfortably, and focus entirely on your breath. Don't force yourself to achieve some mystical state. Just observe your thoughts and come back to your breath every time your mind drifts. Set a timer for 5-7 minutes. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and pay attention to each breath. Don't be afraid if thoughts keep coming, just notice them and gently return to your breathing. Or try the approach of Massimo Pigliucci, philosopher and author of How to Be a Stoic. He combines silent meditation with Stoic journaling. Each morning or evening, he spends a few minutes with his eyes closed, tuning into his body and quietly asking himself, What values do I want to live by today? This is a form of meditative self-inquiry, much like Marcus Aurelius practiced with his journal nearly 2,000 years ago. Day by day, that stillness will start to grow within you. You'll realize you can be still, you can be at peace, even in the noisiest world. What I didn't expect was that this inner calm didn't just appear when I sat in meditation. It gradually spread into my days. When I faced pressure at work, when I argued with family, when life threw situations I couldn't control, I found myself more composed, able to pause before saying something I'd regret, able to really feel anger or sadness, and from there, able to let it go or transform it. Perhaps this is the greatest gift of meditation. Not to turn you into someone unmoved, but to give you the steadiness and clarity to remain yourself through every storm, no matter how chaotic the world outside might become. And then it dawned on me. Meditation isn't about reaching some perfect emptiness. It's about training the ability to see, accept, and not judge whatever arises in your mind. The mind is truly like a vast ocean on some days, calm and clear. At other times, a storm rages above. But no matter what's on the surface, there's always a deep current underneath. Your task is not to control everything or force stillness, but simply to observe, to notice every wave of emotion, every passing thought, and to trust that, with patient attention, everything softens and changes in its own time. That, at its core, is the spirit of Stoicism. Mastery over oneself does not come through repression, but through mindful observation and acceptance. Stoicism doesn't tell you to rid yourself of every emotion or thought. It teaches you to see them, to name them, and to watch them with equanimity as natural parts of life. From that stillness, I discovered, to truly master your life, you must begin by taking ownership of your mornings. Habit 2. Wake up early and intentional mornings. I used to be the kind of person who felt ready to take on the world as long as it wasn't in the early morning. Waking up late, rushing through my routine, blaming myself, that was a cycle that lasted for years. Every new day began with a heavy feeling, as if I was wasting precious time, then frantically chasing after work, missing out on those crucial early moments. And I kept asking myself, why does each morning feel so lifeless, even though I promised myself the night before that tomorrow would be different? That lack of inspiration, the exhaustion from the moment I opened my eyes, all seemed like an unbreakable chain. To change this, I tried something deceptively simple but important: waking up just 30 minutes earlier each morning. The first day was honestly hard. Chaotic thoughts, fatigue, and the urge to crawl back into bed made the morning feel like a battle. But then, sitting quietly, watching the sunrise through my window, I sensed that each day could be a fresh start. It hit me that a new day isn't a frantic race, it's a chance to master yourself right from the start. After a week of persistence, I noticed a profound shift in how I felt about my mornings. Waking up early was no longer a burden, but an opportunity to create a new version of myself. Slowly, I started to feel more in control of my time, no longer swept away by work or anxiety. I realized I could actually own my mornings, and with that came a sense of freedom, not being bound or limited by anything outside of me. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, you were born to do what you were created for, not to huddle under the blankets." Hes 1. That made me realize waking up early isn't some torturous test, it's an opportunity to do what matters, to keep the promises you make to yourself. Rising early is a sign of commitment to your goals, and that first action each day is the foundation for taking control of your whole life. Waking up early isn't just a physical act, it's a way to build discipline, master your time, and focus on what truly matters. That act of getting up earlier shows you that self-control is real, that you can shape your life starting from the very first minute of your day. Waking up early isn't a challenge. It's an opportunity to step into your day with intention instead of letting it slip by. Stoic philosophy teaches us that every action in life should have purpose and resolve. Waking up early and doing so intentionally isn't just about saving time, it's about taking charge of your mind and crafting a day that means something. Rising early is an act of self-discipline that helps us act effectively and trains us to become the people we want to be. To put this into practice, I started simply. Each morning, I set my alarm 15-30 minutes earlier than usual. When it rang, I didn't hit snooze. I got out of bed right away. It was tough at first, but that act helped me avoid delay and start the day on my own terms. After getting up, I spent 5 minutes in a short meditation. Sitting quietly, focusing on my breath, calmed my mind and prepared me for the day. Meditation isn't about emptying the mind, but about learning to notice and master your emotions, to center yourself instead of letting your thoughts run wild. Next, I took 5 minutes to plan my day. Instead of letting work or worries take over, I wrote down the 3 most important things I wanted to accomplish. This gave me clarity and helped me avoid distraction, creating a clear focus for the entire day. I noticed that every morning I spent time on myself meditating and planning. I didn't just master my time, I mastered myself and my mind. After a week of this practice, I found that I no longer felt swept away by the busyness of life. Instead, I felt proactive and in control. Every morning became a chance to create a new self. Waking up early didn't just help me control my time, it became my way to make the most important goals of my day a reality. Habit 3. Daily exercise and voluntary discomfort. I used to hate working out there, was always a perfectly reasonable excuse. Too busy, too tired, not motivated enough. But the less I moved, the more exhausted I became. How long has it been since you truly got your body moving, simply because you don't see yourself as that kind of person? That feeling isn't rare. I used to be the same way. I was never the sporty type, and I always had enough reasons to postpone exercise. Yet over time, I realized a tough truth. The more I avoided physical activity, the more drained I felt. It became a vicious cycle, my body growing weaker, my mind more depleted, and every day I found myself trapped in a state of low energy. I started to wonder, why can't I just get off the sofa? So, I decided to change, starting small. I tried 10 minutes of walking or yoga every morning. The first days were a true test. My body felt sore, my back ached, my breath was short of air. Part of me wanted to quit, but by the 5th day, I noticed a real change in my body. I felt more alert, my mind was clearer, and my emotions became steadier. Even more, exercise began to dissolve my stress. For the first time in a long while, I felt like I could control myself instead of being swept along by life. One day, I tried a cold shower, a move that nearly shattered every limit I had set for myself. At first, I thought I could never handle it. But after a few minutes in that icy water, I was shocked by a rush of new energy, a vibrant, invigorating sense of being alive that I had never felt before. My body felt reactivated, as if I had just flipped on some hidden switch that had been lying dormant within me for years. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said, "Voluntary discomfort prepares you for what you cannot control." This is a profound Stoic lesson I've come to understand through my own experiences. Taking on small discomforts, cold showers, intermittent fasting, regular physical exercises, an incredibly effective way to train your mind. These actions help build inner strength to face the bigger challenges in life, especially those you cannot control. Physical training isn't just about improving your health, it's about learning to proactively embrace challenge. Every time I welcomed a small discomfort, whether it was a cold shower or a tough workout, I realized I was building a kind of psychological vaccine that made me better prepared for stress, fatigue, or adversity out there in the world. It became my way to toughen myself for whatever life throws at me. The practice is simple. Start with a form of movement you can. Sustain walking, yoga, jump rope, or even a light workout. Pick something easy to begin, but stick with it. Once you're comfortable, add one voluntary discomfort each week: a cold shower, skip the elevator, or add 5 to 10 minutes to your workout. You'll be surprised by how these small shifts can make you feel more in command of both your body and your mind. This practice taught me that willpower isn't only about the gym, it's about daring to take on discomfort and refusing to give up when things get hard. Through each small challenge, I learned to persist and stay focused on what truly matters, instead of quitting at the first sign of discomfort. Habit 4. Mindful eating and moderation. I used to eat while scrolling through my phone, finishing my meal without remembering what I'd just eaten, never really tasting anything. How long has it been since you truly enjoyed a complete meal? No screens, no rush. I remember those days when eating was an unconscious habit, reading the news, browsing social media, or watching television while I ate. Every meal was just another box to check off, never really noticing the flavors, the textures of the food, or how my body felt as it received nourishment. Sometimes, by the end of the meal, I couldn't even recall what I had eaten. One day, feeling the emptiness of eating on autopilot, I decided to change. I tried dedicating at least one meal a day to eating in silence. No phone, no television, just me and the food in front of me. On the first day, the unfamiliarity made me restless. Truly, just a few minutes of eating without distraction, I started feeling agitated, almost as if I couldn't escape my own thoughts. But by the third day, I began to notice a marked difference. Every bite became clearer. I could taste each flavor, feel each texture, from the smoothness of rice to the crunch of fresh vegetables. A sense of satisfaction and calm washed over me, as if I was reconnecting with myself through each mouthful. The amazing thing was, after just 3 days, I found myself eating less, feeling satisfied for longer, and the urge to snack constantly had faded. When you eat slowly and mindfully, your body tells you when you're truly full instead of getting lost in automatic habits. No longer a victim to cravings, I started to realize I could control my impulses and desires rather than being controlled by them, as I used to. Seneca, the great Stoic philosopher, said, "Eat simple food, practice moderation, don't be a slave to your appetite." Stoicism doesn't teach us to abandon all the comforts of life, but rather to master ourselves, so we're not ruled by fleeting emotions or short-term cravings. It's not about asceticism, but about self-possession, the ability to govern our instincts and desires. While many people eat to satisfy temporary cravings, the Stoic way is to eat with moderation, so the body and mind can remain balanced and serene. Famous figures like Timferriss and Oprah Winfrey are passionate advocates for mindful eating. Timferriss, the celebrated author and entrepreneur, practices intermittent fasting and puts a premium on eating with awareness. In his podcasts and writings, Ferriss often highlights how mindful eating boosts his focus and health. He eats with restraint, choosing foods that energize the body without letting his mind and habits fall prey to unconscious eating. Similarly, Oprah Winfrey practices and encourages mindful eating, having transformed her own habits to avoid being controlled by senseless cravings or emotional eating. She emphasizes listening to the body and eating slowly to cultivate both health and presence in everyday life. A simple but effective practice I adopted was to pick one meal each day with no screen, eating slowly, focusing on the taste, the texture, and savoring every moment I'd neglected for years. I also tried intermittent fasting. Not only did this help control my appetite, but it allowed me to build healthier eating routines. Cooking simple meals at home became another way to reconnect with my food, understanding its origin and quality, and appreciating it more deeply. As I practiced mindful eating, I discovered that willpower is reflected not just in eating with moderation, but in self-mastery across all areas of life. Being in charge of my cravings wasn't only about appetite, it became a way to master other urges and temptations life throws my way. When you can manage even these little impulses, it becomes much easier to stand strong in the face of greater challenges that life inevitably brings. Habit 5. Journaling. Stoic journaling. Self-reflection. I used to think journaling was just a daydreamer's hobby for people with too much free time. But after practicing the first 4 habits, I found myself filled with so many tangled thoughts that needed to be unraveled. Have you ever tried sitting down and writing out all your feelings and worries on paper, not for anyone else to read, just so you could understand yourself better? I never believed in the power of journaling. I thought it was a silly habit for people with time to waste, serving no purpose but to fill up empty pages and hours. But after embracing those first transformative habits, I realized I desperately needed a way to make sense of my thoughts, to truly understand myself, and to turn those emotions into positive actions. Journaling, it turned out, was the best tool of all. After reading The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday, I realized that journaling isn't just a personal habit, it's actually an ancient Stoic method for seeing and understanding oneself. Ryan Holiday shares that he spends time each day recording his reflections, reviewing his actions, and questioning his decisions and choices in life. I discovered that journaling is a way to enhance self-awareness, maintain presence, and reflect on one's progress, a practice that honestly changed how I view myself. The first day I tried journaling, it was tough. My thoughts rushed through my head like a river in flood, and I didn't know where to start. So I simply wrote a few lines about what I'd done that day. Gradually, as I kept writing, something surprising happened. I started to recognize the real feelings within me, the ones I had ignored or been too afraid to face. I realized that I often exaggerated my difficulties and mistakes, while overlooking the small victories I had actually achieved. Journaling helped me understand myself better and sparked a positive shift in my mindset. After a week of consistent journaling, I read back through my entries and felt genuinely surprised. I saw more patience in how I handled problems, and I began to appreciate myself more, even for the smallest things I'd done. Those negative emotions that used to overwhelm me became easier to face because I now understood myself and could regulate my feelings when I needed to. Journaling gave me a powerful tool for growth and for calmly addressing my inner struggles. Stoic philosophy also offers valuable wisdom on this practice. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "Review your character daily. Did you act in accordance with virtue?" To me, journaling is exactly this, a daily exercise in self-examination. It allows me to notice the progress I've made and to honestly see and correct bad habits I was previously blind to. This doesn't just help me understand my actions, it helps me live with virtue and consistency in daily life. My daily journaling practice is simple. Every evening, I write down 3 things I did well, 1 thing I could improve, and 1 thing I'm grateful for. The important part isn't to write beautifully or impressively, just write honestly from the heart about what you truly feel, no need for perfection. I also learned that if I made a mistake one day, I should forgive myself, not let small failures become an extra burden. The journal is a place where I can be truly free to express my thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment. When I started journaling, I realized that the time I was wasting wasn't just a few minutes here and there. It was all those empty, meaningless moments I spent on things that didn't matter, especially my phone and social media. Every time I lost myself in those habits, I felt precious time slipping away, and journaling helped me see that clearly. Sitting down to write about my day restored my energy and stopped me from wasting it on what was pointless. Are you ready to start your own journey of self-discovery through journaling? Just set aside a few moments each day to write out your thoughts and feelings. Don't worry about making it perfect. Just be honest, be yourself, and write what you truly feel. You'll be amazed by the changes that begin to unfold within you day by day. Try starting tonight and share your experiences with me in the comments. How do you feel after 1 week of daily journaling? Habit 6. Limiting screen time. Digital detox. I used to fall asleep with my phone in hand, scrolling through news feeds until midnight, then wonder why I woke up feeling exhausted, foggy, and uninspired. When was the last time you spent an evening without screens, just for yourself, your family, or with a good book? I remember so clearly how I used to spend each night lost in my phone, mindlessly scrolling until morning fatigue and stress crept in without me even knowing why. It became a vicious cycle I didn't even notice. I was constantly pulled by online conversations, news updates, endless images, and information that never seemed to satisfy. The idea of an evening without a phone felt almost impossible in today's world. But when I finally put the phone down, I realized I wasn't just clearing physical space, I was clearing my mind. The first day, I set one simple rule: no phone after 9 p.m. At first, I felt empty, uncomfortable, and thought, what am I supposed to do now? I didn't know how to replace that. Time scrolling had become such an ingrained part of my life. The first minutes felt lacking, even anxious, as if I was missing some essential energy. But after a few days, I began to enjoy a new kind of space I'd never known before. Instead of mindlessly scrolling, I found myself with more time for myself, my family, and things I'd forgotten I loved: reading, drawing, writing, the passions I'd left behind for social media. The strange thing was, when I no longer worried about messages or notifications each time I glanced at my phone, I felt more energetic, more creative, and sharper mentally. That stillness created space for new ideas and inspiration gifts I'd overlooked because I was so busy with the digital world. Shutting down my screen at a set hour didn't just soothe my emotions. It created real, quality time that I could truly enjoy and control. Stoic philosophy helped me see this problem more clearly. Seneca taught that to live a clear and meaningful life, we must eliminate what's unnecessary. Instead of chasing what's pointless or wasting time on unimportant details, we should focus on what's truly valuable. It's like cleaning your living space. When you remove clutter, your room becomes cleaner, simpler, and you can easily see and reach the things that matter most. In life, this means reducing our dependency on technology, cutting out unnecessary external noise, and letting our minds become clearer, better able to see our real goals. By removing distractions, we can recognize ourselves and the world more sharply. Simplicity doesn't just quiet the chaos. It creates a life that is tidier, more intentional, and much deeper, enhancing awareness and resolve in everything we do. The simplest practice is to set a cutoff time for screen zone or 2 hours before bed. Challenge yourself to turn off your phone, pick up a book, or try relaxing routines instead. Screen-free time brings peace. You stop worrying about notifications and social feeds. When boredom creeps in, Try handwriting, real conversations, or taking a walk instead of reaching for your phone. These moments reduce tech dependency and refresh your mind. What I found was that when I did a digital detox, I could restore my mental energy. I was no longer distracted by endless news and trivial online chatter. Instead, I could think more creatively and focus on things that truly mattered. Not being dragged along by the current of technology made me feel calm and awake, a benefit for both my mental and physical health. Through digital detox, I felt my stress decrease, my creativity and productivity increase. I even read more, took better care of myself, and spent higher quality time with family and friends. I realized that we don't have to constantly update ourselves or scroll social media to feel alive. Have you tried an evening without screens? Try starting with just one night, with no screens, just you and what you truly need: family, books, or simply stillness. You'll be surprised how much new energy you'll discover. Share your experience in the comments and start your own digital detox journey today. Habit 7. Reading and intellectual expansion. I used to think reading was just something for school days, that once you're grown up, all you really need is Facebook. But after just 1 week of spending 20-30 minutes a day with a book, I discovered how long I'd been shutting myself off from entire worlds I didn't even realize were out there. When was the last time a book truly woke you up? I remember thinking reading was a thing of the past, something only students bothered with. As an adult, I slipped into the habit of scrolling through Facebook, consuming statuses, comments, and snippets of information that never left any lasting impression. I didn't realize how much I'd lost in terms of intellectual growth and deep thinking simply because of the convenience of social media. But when I made time for just 20-30 minutes of reading each day, I suddenly realized how closed off I'd become to my own intellectual life. The first time I picked up a Stoic book, the experience was strange and unfamiliar. I started with Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Every line felt like opening a new door, drawing me into deep reflections I'd never really noticed before. Within days, I moved on to Letters from a Stoic by Seneca and began exploring books on psychology, self-development, and self-mastery. Each book was like a quiet companion, guiding me through ideas and perspectives on life and humanity I had never truly examined. It was as if every page liberated some hidden corner of my mind, expanding my perspective, encouraging self-compassion, and deepening my sense of empathy. These books were not just stacks of paper. They were doorways to conversations with the great minds I'd never have the chance to meet in person. One of the things I realized was that without these books, I would have stayed trapped in shallow thinking, stuck in old beliefs and useless habits. Gradually, I'd have been swept along by the routines of everyday life, never finding a new path or a fresh direction. Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors in the world, is also famous for his reading habit. He's shared that he spends 5 to 6 hours a day reading everything from investment books to history, philosophy, and more. He believes reading is how he maintains clarity in decision-making and keeps his understanding of the world sharp and wide. Stoic philosophy helped me see that, to truly grow, I needed to connect myself with the great ideas of those who developed deep understanding of life. Seneca, in one of his most famous letters, taught, "Associate with those who will make you better. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." And this, I realized, could be applied to books. Books are the silent teachers we can befriend anytime, anywhere. No need to wait for the perfect moment. Each book is a conversation with the wise, a way to grow and see myself through the lens of philosophical, psychological, and life principles that matter. After starting to read regularly, I set a small goal for myself: 15-30 minutes each night with a physical book. instead of scrolling social media. Reading paper books not only reduced distractions, but also created a private space for reflection and deeper connection with the lessons inside. After every reading session, I'd write down one meaningful insight or something I wanted to try in my own life. Sometimes, when I looked back over what I'd written, I could actually see my thinking and actions shifting little by little. My decisions and reactions started to grow, clearer, rushed, less impulsive. Reading isn't just about refreshing your mind, it's about fueling long-term motivation. Each book not only teaches new lessons, but keeps the flame of progress alive inside me. It's a source of ongoing energy that sustains me through tough times and challenges. If you haven't tried it yet, start with a book you're genuinely curious about. Don't rush, give yourself time to savor each sentence, to reflect on every lesson, and, most importantly, to try applying it in your own life. Reading isn't just about acquiring knowledge, it's a chance to discover yourself and truly change your life. If you've never given it a try, start today. Pick up a book, spend 15-30 minutes a day lost in its world, and jot down one thing you learn each time. I believe that after just a week, you'll feel a real shift in the way you think and act. Don't let life drag you back into old habits. Make time for yourself, for your intellect, and for your own continuous growth. Let's begin this journey now. Share the book you'll start with in the comments below, and join me in experiencing the transformation that only books can bring. Let the lessons you find become a new source of inspiration and drive you to greater heights day after day. You've just journeyed with me through 7 habits that may seem small, but can truly change your life, from cultivating inner stillness, taking charge of your mornings, building willpower, mastering your impulses, to expanding your intellect. These aren't just the first steps to a new way of living. They are the foundation for becoming the best version of yourself in a world that never stops changing. Marcus Aurelius once reminded us, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." If you patiently practice each of these habits, just small actions, day by day, you'll be amazed by the transformative power within you. Peace, purpose, and resilience that hold steady no matter what storms may come. Now, if you could choose just one habit to start today, what would it be? Share your choice or your thoughts in the comments below. Who knows? Your story might be the spark that inspires someone else who's searching for a new beginning. If this video brought you value, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of the practical, profound Stoic lessons I'll be sharing next. Thank you for staying with me till the very end. Remember, every big transformation starts with one small decision, and the power to rewrite your story will always be in your hands.